junior Houston Christian Tyler LaRue. Batting fifth, the sophomore from Texas A&M Corpus Christi is going to be the left fielder Garrick Rule. Batting sixth, the right fielder, sophomore out of Baylor, John Sisoli. And then batting seventh, the shortstop, Austin Strassner, a sophomore out of Baylor. Batting eighth is the catcher, Brady Evans, a junior out of Northeastern State, who competed against Fort Hays earlier in the season and didn't get a play here at Larks Park, coming back this summer as he did last year. And finishing it off for the Larks, it's going to be the second baseman and freshman out of Baylor, Bryson Evans, to start it off. Your starting pitchers for the Larks, it's going to be the hometown kid out of TMP, Carson Jacobs, on the bump for the Larks. On the other hand, it'll be number 27, Nolan Marthaler of the Cougars, to start it off. We'll take another break here on KAYS, and then it'll be first pitch time from Larks Park. You're listening to the Larks here on KAYS.
Here for tonight's ceremonial first pitch, please welcome Colin Logan. Tee it up, Colin. Whenever you're ready, throw a stride. Way to go, Colin. Thanks to tonight's game.
Welcome back to KAYS. I'm Caden Sanders. Along with me is Rachel Fox in the studio as we get set. The Larks and the Cougars here at Larks Park in Hays, Kansas. All set to do up is Brady Webb Chase Bilbro and Christian Powell, two of them in-state community college players, and one of them at Colorado Mesa. On the hill tonight will be Carson Jacobs, hometown kid, as I mentioned, graduated TMP a class before me in 2020, went to Newman University for a season, went down to Arizona, and now at North Dakota State in the Summit League. After Powell, it'll be Matt Barthauer, JT Pilaquin, Will Brazel, Mike Barthauer, Jackson Nutter, and Gavin Sherry. Last night wasn't a great night for the Cougars as there was only 2 hits. Nolan Marthaler, who is on the bump tonight and not even in the lineup, along with Christian Powell, who is the designated hitter for tonight. Throw down to second from the catcher, from Brady Evans, and gets set here as Carson Jacobs getting set to go on the bump. Only one umpire tonight, and that'll be Randy Jordan. And I don't know what the issue is, but the right fielder for the Larks going after whatever it is, and it's a ball that Jordan had spotted from home plate. So we are about to get set as Carson Jacobs takes his spot on the bump. Jacobs delivers the first pitch on the inside part of the plate, but called a strike from Jordan. 7:05 the first pitch, 74 degrees, wind blowing from left to right at 13 miles per hour. Second pitch into the turf, so the count evens at 1 apiece between Brady Webb and Carson Jacobs. Jacobs winds and delivers. Called a strike by the umpire, so Brady Webb down 1-2 to Carson Jacobs already. Jacobs delivers, but in the dirt. Blocking it is the catcher, Brady Evans. Jacobs making sure his hat is on. Got the flowy locks on his head. The 2-2. Inside pitch moving Brady Webb. Doesn't catch him though, but the count moves full between Carson Jacobs and Brady Webb. The 3-2. Swing and a miss for Carson Jacobs. Welcome home, as it's nice to see Carson pitching twice already, but both of them were on the road. One up in Gehring and didn't have a great time, but then went down to Dodge City and did his thing and found his groove. Hopefully he can find it here in Larks Park. Starts off Chase Bilbro, and he bunts it, and going to be out is Bilbro, and that was inches. I mean, half a step. It was that close.
Number 5, Christian Powell.
So now stepping in for the Denver Cougars, the designated hitter from Hutch Community College, Christian Powell. Last night, 1 of 3, got a single off of Luke Terbeek, the starter, who only gave up 2 hits the entire night in his 5 innings of work. Jacobs delivering the 1-0 pitch and just missing, so the count in favor of Powell, 2-0. Pitch low to the ground and about shin height to Powell. So the count 3-0 in favor for him. Pitch on the inside part of the plate, called strike, and battling is Jacobs. He's had to battle the entire season for the Larks, whether it was good or bad, just putting a fight, and a pitch swung on into left center field. Ruiz going after it, and just 2 feet from the wall is Ruiz catching that fly ball from Christian Powell. We go to the bottom of the first, 0-0 on the board. You're listening to Hayes Larks on KYS and on YouTube. Fly out, 8, 3, 2, 1. Cool. All right, Luis Garcia, Garrett Rule.
Tonight's game is also sponsored by Downing Nelson Oil Company, incorporated at 111 West 10th Street in Hayes. Thanks to Alan and Diane Downing and Ron Gator Nelson for their great support of Hayes Larks baseball. Remember, kids of all ages, come on down to the field, run the bases after tonight's game. Get a free dollar courtesy of Downing Nelson Oil Company. Proud to support the great Larks tradition of family and fun. On the mound tonight for the Denver Cougars, number 27, Nolan Marthaler. Hey, Larks fans, included in tonight's game day raffle drawing, the Larks are giving away a Larks cash raffle ticket to one lucky winner. So when you buy your game day raffle tickets tonight, you can also be one of the winners of the Larks cash raffle ticket. The Larks cash tickets make you eligible for a daily $100 drawing between July 1 and July 30. And the $1,000 Larks cash giveaway, which is going to be done on July 31st. Leading off for the Larks from Pima Community College, the third baseman, number 12.
We head to the bottom of the first, and leading off for the Larks, the sophomore from Pima Community College, Luis Garcia, started the season when the Larks had not a lot of players on the team, only had 15 up in Nebraska, playing third base, and then played a couple at second, but now back at third tonight. Taking the first 2 pitches he sees from Nolan Marthaler. Marthaler going to Adams State in the RMAC. First strike delivered down the middle on a cutter. The 2-1 from Marthaler. Down the middle, and looking back is Garcia. But the count evens out at 2 apiece between Garcia and Marthaler. Swung on and fouled off is Garcia. So the count 2-2 still between Nolan Marthaler and Luis Garcia. Last night, Garcia, 2 of 3, 2 singles and a flyout. He scored 1 run and had an RBI. In this series, though, 1 of 5, 3 runs scored and an RBI. Pitch on the outside, so Luis Garcia forcing it full on Nolan Marthaler. He has been in the outfield all of this series on Friday and Saturday. Cougars using up a lot of pitching. Swung on is Garcia, but in between the first baseman, Matt Barthauer, and first base coach Andy Luton, and it wasn't playable. But going back to Marthaler, had some pretty great saves out in the outfield, but now being called to the mound by head coach Mark Cirillo. Pitch on the outside from Marthaler, and the Larks get on already with Luis Garcia getting a walk from Nolan Marthaler. So now stepping in is the center fielder from Houston Christian, Damian Ruiz. Last night, 1 of 3, a single, a ground out, a strikeout looking, and a base on balls. He scored 1 run, but in the series, he is 3 of 5. He has scored 4 runs. Swung on and belted into left field. Coming in is the left fielder, Chase Bilbro, and that'll be out number 1 on the fly out. So that will be the first out of the bottom of the first. Now stepping in is the designated hitter, Will Pendergrass, a junior from Baylor. Last night, Pendergrass, 1 of 4, a single, 2 flyouts, and a strikeout swinging. But in the series, he's 3 of 8 with 2 runs scored. Pickoff over to first, not in time for Garcia. Garcia didn't even slide back in. He just ran back to the base. Checking Garcia's Marthaler, throwing back. Couldn't even apply the tag because the throw was off, was Barthauer. The Barthauer brothers have been playing the corners, but today, shortstop and first. Going is Garcia, but being plunked is the designated hitter, and Will Pendergrass. So now the runners in Garcia at second, Pendergrass at first, and now the junior from Houston Christian, who was one of the last players last night to hit a home run. The other one, Garrett Gruhl, up deck for the Larks. Last night, LaRue, 2 of 3, a single, a home run, and a ground out. 2 runs scored and an RBI. First pitch in there and called strike. In the series, he's 5 of 7, 2 home runs, 3 singles. He has 5 runs scored and 5 RBIs already in the series. Already down 0-1 to Nolan Marthaler. A swing and a miss, and a hefty swing at that, as he swung early on a high and away fastball from Marthaler. LaRue down in the count, 0-2 with 1 out and 2 runners on in Luis Garcia and Pendergrass. Garcia going, runners going, and having to go back. No one's paying attention, but it works out as the triangle of Brady Webb, Will Brazel, and JT Peliquin can't get that one, and the bases loaded on a single from Tyler LaRue. So Luis Garcia at third, Will Pendergrass at second, and Tyler LaRue at first. So now stepping in is Garrett Gruhl, the other player to hit a home run to end the game last night in the 7th. LaRue went first, Gruhl went second, and that's how we ended last night's game. First pitch in there from Marthaler on the inside, but catching the plate. Gruhl 1 of 4, but 2 flyouts, 1 at the warning track, and a swinging strikeout. But in the series, 5 of 10, 3 home runs, 4 runs scored, 4 RBIs, and 4 flyouts. And a swing and a drive, and that will find some grass in between Barthauer and Brady Webb in center field. And Luis Garcia scoring already for the Larks. Will Pendergrass at third, Tyler LaRue at second, and Gruhl with the single. So now stepping in, the right fielder, John Sicoli, sophomore from Baylor, has been in between DH and first base, but with some injuries to the Larks and dealing with the short staffing so far, having to play in the outfield tonight, and a first pitch strike from Marthaler. Last night, Sicoli 1 of 2, a single and a fly out, or sacrifice fly, to the center fielder. 1 run scored and an RBI, but in the series, 1 of 5, 3 runs scored, and carry that RBI from last night. That's his stat line in the series. The count even between Marthaler and Sicoli. Setting up low is the catcher, Nutter, blocking it as he leaps to his right, but had to correct himself, flew way to the right, and just hitting his chest protector, or else that would have fallen to the backstop, and scoring would have been Will Pendergrass. Marthaler, the 2-1, swung on into right field. Coming in is Brazel, but tagging is Pendergrass. No cutoff, and Pendergrass is going to score on the sacrifice RBI from John Sicoli. And that will be the second out of the bottom of the first, but the Larks getting 2 runs already and still having 2 runners on, with that being Tyler LaRue and Garrett Gruhl. But now stepping in, the shortstop, sophomore from Baylor, Austin Strassner. Marthaler to deliver. First pitch called strike. In the series, Strassner 0 of 4 from last night. 3 groundouts, a strikeout swinging, 2 base on balls, but scored on one of them. But 0 of 5, 4 groundouts, 1 strikeout swinging, and 4 base on balls, with 2 of them being runs scored. Pitch on the outside and low from Marthaler, but called strike. So now the count 0-2 with 2 outs. Marthaler checking second, but a freezing strike on that slider from Marthaler will get Strassner. And that's how we end the first inning here on KAYS and the Larks YouTube page.
From Missouri City, Texas, the mother of Larks' third baseman, Will Pendergrass. Please welcome Julie and Will's grandmother, Gail, from Rockwall, Texas. And from Woodward, Oklahoma, the dad of Larks pitcher Jeff Lotus. Please welcome Scott Lotus. And the family from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, the folks of Brady Evans, Brandon, his dad, Renee, his mom, and his sister, Brooke. Please welcome everyone to Larks Baseball.
Carson Jacobs back on the bump to start the second inning. We'll take the time, because we have it, to thank these sponsors for putting Larks Baseball on KAYS. Phase 2 Screen Printing and M&D Excavating Incorporate. Carson Jacobs on the bump, ready to wheel and deal and start this second inning. First pitch, fastball, just a little low on Matt Barthauer, the first baseman from Adams State. Last night, 0 of 3, 2 swinging strikeouts and a flyout. Pitch from Jacobs on the outside, missing. But in the series, he's 1 of 7, only had 1 single in that long baseball game Friday night. Another pitch from Jacobs on the outside at the knee height, but missing. So the count 3-0. Jacobs, the 3-0, swung on into center field, going to his left, just a couple of steps, and I mean 6 if I had to guess, because I didn't count them. But catching it is Damian Ruiz for the first out of the inning.
The second baseman, number 15, John Pellican.
So now stepping in is second baseman JT Peliquin. Was at McNeese State, but looking to transfer out. Half-hearted swing that touches the baseball and gets fouled off. So the count 0-1 between Jacobs and Peliquin. Another check swing, but misses. So the count 0-2 in favor of Jacobs. Jacobs started the top of the first with a strikeout. Slider missing, but wanted to put that slider on the outside to catch Peliquin looking. Jacobs, the 1-2, swung and fouled off. Would have gone to the press box here, but the netting just high enough. So the count remains 1-2 in favor of Carson Jacobs. Curveball missing, and a close call, but on the outside and maybe just a little high to the short JT Peliquin. The 2-2, fastball, swing, and a miss. Jacobs working the Cougars so far. Goes 1-2-3 in the top of the first. And now the top of the second, 1-2. Now steps in the right fielder, Will Brazel. Brazel 0-2 last night, a swinging strikeout and a fly out. Here's a pop-up, first pitch. Brady Evans going after it and leaning on his back to catch that one is Evans. And that is a 1-2-3 inning once again. You're listening to Larks Baseball here on KAYS and on YouTube.
If the Larks get a 1, 2, 3 in the top of the fifth, Tommy's is going to give away a free car wash to someone who has also registered in a 50-50 raffle. The game day raffle's going around in just a little bit. Dollar each or 6 tickets for $5. Makes you eligible for everything that we're giving away tonight, including a Larks cash raffle ticket for one lucky winner. Don't forget, if you buy your game day raffle tickets tonight, it makes you eligible for the Tommy's car wash and for a cash raffle ticket. Those cash raffle tickets make you eligible for the $100 daily drawing each day between July 1st and July 30th.
I know.
As well as the
I know.
$1,000 Larks cash giveaway drawn on July 31st. But you have to enter tonight's game day raffle.
To the bottom of the second we go here at Larks Park. And it'll be 8-9-1. Brady Evans, the catcher. Second baseman, Bryson Evans, no relation. And then also Luis Garcia, third baseman tonight for the Larks. Brady Evans, a junior out of Northeastern State. I talked about him a little bit in the pregame show. Went to Murray State Community College in Oklahoma. Transferred to Northeastern State to play Division II ball in the MIAA. And competed against Fort Hays and didn't get a chance to come up here to Larks Park because Brady Evans last summer had a great summer up here in Hays. But now with the Larks, takes a first pitch strike from Marthaler. Second pitch just high. So the count evens at 1 apiece between Brady Evans and Nolan Marthaler. Brady last night, Friday night, swung and fouled off is Evans. Friday when he last played, a 2 of 3, a double and a home run, 2 base on balls and a ground out. He scored 2 runs and had 2 RBIs. But now down in the count, 1-2. Marthaler on the inside, almost clipping Brady Evans on the slider, but instead just misses him for the count to be 2-2. Marthaler at Adams State, almost chin music to Brady Evans, but gets out the way. So now the count full. Marthaler has seen it one other time already today. And swung on into left field, right down the line. Evans going to stretch it for 2. The throw to second, but not in time as Brady Evans, a stand-up double in front of his family who's in town this weekend. And starting off the Larks right was Brady Evans. So now stepping in is the freshman from Baylor, the second baseman tonight, Bryson Evans. But before that, Trent Baker, who's not in the starting lineup for the first time this season. It'll be Trent Baker, freshman out of Houston Christian. He's been the center fielder the entire time this season, but this time trying to heal up his wrist or thumb, kind of that same area. First pitch from Marthaler, missing, and so count 1-0. But Baker pinch running and might see him on the bump. Is what I heard from the list that Keith Harper gave out. The 1-0 in the dirt from Marthaler, blocked by the catcher, Jackson Nutter. So Marthaler already down 2-0 to Bryson Evans. Checking a second in Baker. Throwing and a swing into left field. Tagging up is Baker. Slipping is Bilbro, but catches it. Tagging up is Baker. Shows off that Trey Turner sliding skills and almost does it again, but tagging up is the pinch runner.
It's the top of the Larks batting order, the third baseman, number
And so now the Larks having Luis Garcia, a left-handed batter, coming in. Garcia last time out, base on balls walk, and scored later that inning. First pitch into the dirt, but blocked by Nutter. Lots of Larks fans here at Larks Park. Wednesday and Friday night were the largest by far, but not a bad night on a nice Sunday evening here. Marthaler gets a friendly pitcher's call. Swung on by Garcia down the first base line, and not there is Barthauer. And Baker coming in easily. Sliding into second is Garcia, and he will be safe on a RBI double. And Luis Garcia finding his groove here in Kansas. Didn't have a great start up in Nebraska, but has really came on for the Larks, and it's been a help as he's shown his speed, his glove, and his bat all in the last, I'd say, 5 games of the season, and really being a key part of this program this summer. Marthaler checking Garcia. delivering the pitch down low at the foot of Damian Ruiz. Last time out, a fly out to the left fielder and Chase Bilbro. Marthaler and Jackson Nutter talking on the bump. And running back is Nutter, as they had their time. Garcia already taking a lead. Peliquin on the left side of the field, but not as bad of a shift. Going back now is Peliquin, but missing on the pitch on the inside is Marthaler. Trying to pitch to the shift that has Gavin Sherry playing closer than normal, but not on the grass. Playing deep is Mike Barthauer, and JT Peliquin on the left side, but throwing a slider on the outside is Marthaler, and still missing. So the count 3-0 in favor of Damian Ruiz against Nolan Marthaler. The Cougars using up 3 pitchers each night, so 6 total, but having another pitcher and a throw inside, almost catching Ruiz even after he moves, will walk Ruiz on a base on ball. So Luis Garcia staying at second, Damian Ruiz at first, and now coming up is Will Pendergrass. Last time up, got hit by a pitch from Marthaler. Pitch inside as a fastball gets away from Jackson Nutter. And Luis Garcia and Damian Ruiz move up 90 feet. So they're both in scoring position, only having one out. And now going back is Jackson Nutter, but he will come back to the plate as Will Pendergrass is up for a second time tonight already. 1-0, and aiming towards the shoulder is Marthaler, but ducking is Pendergrass. So count 2-0 as Marthaler has had some issues finding the strike zone tonight. When he has, the Larks have taken advantage of it. The 2-0 left out there by Pendergrass, but called strike high and inside on the fastball. As Marthaler is just trying to find the strike zone once again. The 2-1 from Marthaler. Swung on, and it'll be fielded by JT Peliquin, but scoring on an RBI ground out will be Luis Garcia. Garcia scores for a second time tonight, and the Larks leading 4-0 as Tyler LaRue, who got an RBI single last time, left on base at second, comes up to the plate. Marthaler, the 0-0, inside, getting away from the catcher of Nutter, goes down the third base line, and walking back is Damian Ruiz, as he is a speedy outfielder and could have easily ran, but Nutter and Ruiz would have collided, and that would have been a sticky situation for umpire Randy Jordan to call, who was in the right. Marthaler, the 1-0, into the dirt, blocked by Nutter. Nutter hasn't been in the series yet this point, but Zeke Minnick, a McCook Community College product, had the last 2 games, and sitting him is head coach Mark Cerullo. High fastball to Tyler LaRue. Called strike, so the count still in favor of LaRue at 2-1 with a runner 90 feet away, but 2 outs. Marthaler delivers a swing and a high drive. Flipping the bat is Tyler LaRue, and that is an RBI home run by Tyler LaRue, the junior out of Houston Christian. As public address announcer Ken Winholt said it was a moonshot. You knew as soon as it left the bat that it was gone. And I keep talking about this on the YouTube stream because I am the voice of the Hayes Larks. It is so fun to always hear San Francisco at Larks Park. It's like country roads in West Virginia athletic events. Never can go wrong, and it always puts a smile on my face. First pitch from Nolan Marthaler. Delivers a pitch into the dirt, and now stepping in is Garrett Gruhl, who also hit a home run last night. Make that 2, but one of them, the walk-off home run, to be the run rule at 10-0. Tonight isn't a league game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because the Larks are already at 6 in the bottom of the second. Pitch in there, but just low from Marthaler. So Garrett Gruhl leading the count 3-0. Last time up for Gruhl, a single, but left on after a sacrifice fly to the center fielder. Fastball on the outside from Marthaler, called strike. So the count 3-1 to Garrett Gruhl. Marthaler delivers a drive into left field, but just over the fence. It would have been a line drive right off of the 322 sign, if not Simpson Farm Enterprise. Just, I'd say, 6 feet away from where the ball landed. 3-2. Up the line, but on the left side, so count went from 3-0 to 3-2 with 2 outs. Gruhl the only one on the base paths if he hits this one. Running after it is Trent Baker, I believe. So a pause in play to get that baseball back that Gruhl just hit. And we'll go back to it. The full count between Nolan Marthaler and Garrett Gruhl. The wind in the pitch, a swing high and deep. Going back is Will Brazel, the right fielder, but then taking 3 steps to his left to catch that one is Brazel. And that's the end of the second. You're listening to Larks Baseball here on KAYS and also on YouTube. To the top of the third we go here in Larks Park. It's turned into a beautiful night. The lights have been turned on, but sun just now coming to the end of the day, but Carson Jacobs, 1-2-3, 1-2-3. The car wash 1-2-3 inning coming in the fifth, so Carson Jacobs needing to go a couple more at the pace that he's going for the fans to get the free car wash on the 50-50 raffle here at Larks Park. Jacobs delivers the first pitch, swung on and fouled off. Another pitch fouled off by the shortstop, Mike Barthauer of Adams State. Couple of Adams State players, as well as some Kansas JUCO guys for the Denver Cougars. Barthauer, 0 of 3 last night, 2 flyouts, and count this as another for the series. Going after it is Strasner, and he will pull it down with Bryson Evans chasing it as well. But Strasner having priority will call him off. So that will be the first out. 1 through 7 retired through 2 1/3 innings of work from Carson Jacobs. Now stepping in is Jackson Nutter of Illinois Tech. A huge swing and a miss from the catcher as he got fooled by the slider that moved from the middle to the outside part of the plate. The 0-1 from Carson Jacobs missing into the dirt. Jacobs wanting that one back as he slaps his glove and flips the ball, as he got it back from Brady Evans. The 1-1 from Jacobs, swung on into center field. Coming in and to his right is Garrett Gruel, and he will retire Nutter. So 2 back-to-back flyouts for Carson Jacobs. And now Gavin Sherry, the third baseman for the Cougars, a Colby Community College product, coming into the series, has a cloth around his head, and it has a big C for Colby to keep his hair out of his face. First pitch inside, missed by Jacobs. Swung and missed is Sherry. And so now a 1-1 count, 2 outs between Sherry and Carson Jacobs, the hometown kid, pitching for the first time collegiately. Unless if he pitched here in Newman. But I know in high school he pitched here all the time for either the Eagles or just any summer baseball, and we're playing for TMP. Could have been possible, but Sherry being hit just barely touching the jersey. So Sherry will be on first with 2 outs. And now the top of the lineup and center fielder Brady Webb, who will ground up in between Luis Garcia and Austin Strasner at third and short. And so now 2 runners on as Gavin Sherry at second and Brady Webb at first. So now stepping in is the left fielder, Chase Bilbro, another Trojan in the lineup. Those 2 are the only ones, but another JUCO in Kansas, Hutch Community College in Powell. Going is Sherry, running is down to third and safe. Brady Evans pops up, was going to just throw to second, but thought better because of Sherry's speed. Jacobs looks up and down, set to deliver. Fake run from Brady Webb. And Brady Evans pops up, ready to go for a throwdown, but Jacobs trailing in the count 2-0 with 2 outs. Looking up and down, throw over to first. Not in time. A short lead by Brady Webb. He was already there by the time the baseball had traveled 3/4 of the destination between Carson Jacobs and Tyler LaRue. The 2-0 pitch from Carson Jacobs. Into the dirt, but blocked by Brady Evans. So the count 3-0, and Jacobs threatening to walk Chase Bilbro, and going from 2 outs with no on to, and he walks him. And now Carson Jacobs has the bases juiced with 2 outs, and coming in is Christian Powell, who is one of 2 hitters for the Cougars to have a hit last night in the shutdown game, but one of the better hitters in general. As in the series, he's 4 of 7 with a home run, 3 singles, and 2 runs scored. So now comes out the assistant head coach, Keith Harper, and Harper's just talking straight to Carson Jacobs as the infield comes around to support him and listen in to Harp. The umpire already walking out, so it'll be quick to get back to baseball here as Christian Powell set to go against Carson Jacobs, but Jacobs got the better of him last time out as he flew out to Damian Ruiz. The outfield getting back to it, waiting for the infield as the infield walks back to their positions. So now back to it as Christian Powell to go toe-to-toe with Carson Jacobs. A first pitch ball from Jacobs. It was low, and so now count 1-0. Pitch into the dirt, blocked by Brady Evans. So the count 2-0 already between Carson Jacobs and Christian Powell, the designated hitter for tonight. Another pitch into the dirt. Wanting to run was Gavin Sherry on the lackadaisical throw back to Carson Jacobs from Brady Evans. The 3-0 from Jacobs. Called strike, but that was a little low and on the outside part of the plate. So just a must catch a piece of it. The 3-1, and Christian Powell will walk. No one in the bullpen just yet, but the Larks still leading 6-1 as now Matt Barthauer, the first baseman, to step up for the Larks. So Gavin Sherry, the first run across for the Cougars, as a first pitch down the middle fastball from Carson Jacobs hits the strike zone against Barthauer. A swing and a miss as Barthauer trying to hit it over the dike in left center field. So the count 0-2 between Jacobs and Barthauer. Fastball missing on the outside, almost crossing over to the right-handed batter box. The 1-2 from Jacobs as he tries and gets his sign from Brady Evans. Comes set. The 1-2 inside, almost hitting Barthauer. The 2-2 on the outside. Jacobs looking back at Evans and the umpire. Some warming in the bullpen already for the Larks. Jacobs, the full count, and catching a runner in Chase Bilbro. And the run will score in Brady Webb, but the Larks don't care about that as they are up 6-2 here on KYS and the Larks YouTube page. We go to the bottom of the third here at Larks Park. While we still have the time before John Sassoli comes to the plate, we'd like to thank Discount Siding, Next Tech, the Arc of the Central Plains, and Gibbs Auto Supply for supporting Hayes Larks to get on KYS. I have a lot more games in store this season. This is just the first. Pitch on the outside, but framed really well is Jackson Nutter. So John Sassoli, last time out, a sacrifice fly to the right fielder in Will Brazel. Swung on. Would have gone into the dugout, but with the fencing here at Larks Park, there to save the Cougars. Sassoli down in the count, 0-2 to Marthaler. Bouncing and hitting Sassoli is Marthaler on that fastball. So Sassoli at first after getting hit by a pitch. And the last 2 innings for the Larks, the first batter has always got on, either hit by a pitch, a double from Brady Evans in the second, and a base on balls to start the game for the Larks. And Luis Garcia, first pitch by Marthaler, not even close, as Nutter had to get up and move his glove hand as far as he could reach it. The 1-0, a big swing and a miss by Austin Strassner, who last time out struck out looking. Watch that one go down. But now in the count, 1-0, or 1-1, excuse me. Swing and fouled off is Strassner. So the count 1-2 between the sophomore out of Baylor and Nolan Marthaler, who goes to Adams State, which is a D2 program in the RMAC. If you're a Fort Hays fan, you remember them from the RMAC days. Throwback to first, not in time, and not even sliding in is Sassoli, excuse me. The 1-2, swung and fouled off, and it'll go into the parking lot and the street on fourth. As that goes past the grill shack and the concessions here in Larks Park. Marthaler, the 1-2, way out there for Nutter to catch, but makes the catch anyway. Marthaler getting set for the 2-2. Make that 3-2 on a pitch on the outside as he's trying to paint that side in the corners, but doesn't have the control yet on the bump. Checks Sassoli at first, getting set on the closed stance. Pitch inside. Stealing is Sassoli, but didn't matter anyway because of the walk. Good effort, though, from Sassoli. And now the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter. But before that, Mark Cirillo to come out for the Cougars. And he has a glove in his hand, so someone's coming in and someone's coming out. And Will Brazel is going to come in and pitch as Nolan Marthaler will go to left field where he was the past 2 nights. And the new pitcher, Will Brazel, who has been the designated hitter and first baseman for these Cougars, wasn't right tonight to start out, but now having to face Brady Evans already as Nolan Marthaler pitched 2 full and couldn't get the second out, or the first out, excuse me. So 2 full innings and 2 runners on. And that'll be it from Mark Cirillo. And he'll be back out in left field. But coming in is Will Brazel out of U of Mary, who is a transfer to the Cougars of Colorado Christian. As he's warming up, we'll take another bit of time to thank these sponsors to get the Hayes Larks on KAYS. Commercial Builders Incorporated, Midwest Energy, Brungart Hauer, Nextech, Glassman Corporation, Soil Pro Seeds, and Hayes Post and Eagle Communications. And while we're at the top of the hour, let's pause for 10 seconds of station identification. Welcome back as Will Brazel is ready to razzle and dazzle. And Brady Evans, the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter tonight. Simple as this. Get a hit, half-price beer for the rest of the half inning, but with no outs, and gets a hit. And with the long lines that the Larks Nest has seen, you will still get your half-price beer tonight. First pitch in there from Brazel down the middle to Brady Evans. Brazel shakes yes, checking second, delivering. Curveball in there, but just missing low. Brady Evans last time out, a double standing up to start the game and then tagging up to third, but left on there at third. Pitch into the dirt by Brazel, and the count 2-1 in favor of Evans, the junior out of Northeastern State. MIAA foe to Fort Hays State, just down the road in Tahlequah. I say down the road, but take many roads and lots of hours down there to Tahlequah. But that could be said from Tahlequah up to here. Brady Evans fouls one off and missing the dugout. So now Brazel and Brady Evans, the 2-2. Checking second in Sicoli is Brazel, delivering. And that just missing. The Cougars love that pitch, but Home plate umpire Randy Jordan didn't think so, and so the count goes to full at 3-2. Brazel shakes his head for the call. Fastball right at Gavin Sherry. Can't get there as the ball had some movement on it and tricked Sherry, and that'll be a stand-up double RBI and back-to-back doubles for Brady Evans. And mainly why they're clapping is the half-price beer, and here we go, the rat race to get half-price beer here at Larks Park. Coming back in is Trent Baker to run for Brady Evans.
The second baseman, number 1, Bryson Evans.
So now coming in is Bryson Evans. And one of the better walk-up songs, in my opinion, God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash, comes in there with a strike from Brazel. Shaking his head is Bryson Evans, the freshman out of Baylor. Last time out, a fly out to the left fielder and Chase Bilbro. But Bilbro in center field, or right field, don't know which, but try and figure that out later. Evans lets that fastball on the inside go. So the count 1-1 between him and Brazel. The infield in, almost touching the grass as they take their steps forward and their toes right on the grass. So slider in there in the middle for Evans, but didn't swing it. The count 1-2 with no outs. Both runners in scoring position. Into the dirt is Brazel, but blocking is Nutter. Austin Strasner at third, and at second, Trent Baker. Johnson Soley scored, and the count, or the runs go to 7-2, but up the middle is Bryson Evans. Trent Baker around third, and cut off is the first baseman, but he missed it, so Nutter had to get it. And Bryson Evans, a 2-run RBI single, makes the Larks lead 9-2. No warming up in the bullpen yet for the Cougars. And Luis Garcia to step up. The Larks batting pretty much everybody from the top of the lineup down to the 5-hole batter in Garrett Gruhl every inning. Throw down to second. Not even attempted by Nutter, as a steal by Bryson Evans. Successful. The Larks the other night, and I mean last night, had 10 steals in about 4 innings. It was wild. They were just running everywhere. Brazel watching closely on Evans. Pitched it in there on the outside and low part of the plate, but offered Randy Jordan a good fastball. The 1-1. A slider in there. About letters high, but was down the pipe, and so count 1-2 between Luis Garcia and the new pitcher, Will Brazel. The 1-2 from Brazel. A curveball hanging, tagging is Bryson Evans, but not going to go is Evans on that fly out by Garcia. And that will be the first out of the third inning.
The center fielder,
So now stepping in is Damian Ruiz.
Ruiz.
And last time out for Ruiz, a base on balls that scored him. But before that, a fly out to the left fielder, who was Chase Bilbro. And with the pitching change, don't know where he went, but Nolan Marthaler, the starter, is in left field. Slider missing from Will Brazel to Damian Ruiz to open up this series. Brazel checking second a lot. The 1-0 up high. And throwing back is Nutter right away. The middle infield of Mike Barthauer and JT Peliquin not really covering second, but Peliquin over for a shift. Fouled off is Ruiz. So the count 2-1. Ruiz last night 1 of 3, got a single and scored a run. But also in this series has scored 4 runs and 3 of 5. 3 of 6 with tonight's line so far. The 2-1 slider on the outside, hit on the barrel, not in time from Mike Barthauer, but Randy Jordan, the only umpire, calling him out. And the fans groan here. And it's just a one-man crew, and it's kind of hard doing it with 2 people, but Jordan having to do it all by himself tonight. So Will Pendergrass, the designated hitter, to step up. He's 0 of 1, hit by a pitch and scored, and then a grounder to JT Peliquin. Swing and a miss from Pendergrass, and the count 0-1 for Will Brazel. A swing and a drive, left center field. It has a chance, and off the base of the wall, a RBI double for Will Pendergrass. And the celebration for the game we play on the bus, Mafia, and get him out of here. A double RBI for Pendergrass. Move Pendergrass's line to 3 runs scored and an RBI this series so far. And Tyler LaRue, last time up, a RBI home run. Having a chance to do that, Brazel checking Pendergrass. A drive and a fly out to left field at the wall is Marthaler. And he had some room, but LaRue gave it a ride. And that's how we end the 3rd inning. The Larks up over the Cougars 10-2 here on KAYS and on YouTube.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Due to the courtesy of one of tonight's game sponsors, Downing Nelson Oil Company,
Carson Jacobs, after 3 innings of work, back on the bump and having a 8-run lead, as the Larks score back-to-back 4 spots on the Cougars, and then getting 2 in the first. But Larks having a big lead over the Cougars once again. Like I had mentioned, 10-2 here at Larks Park. Carson Jacobs back on the bump against Matt Barthauer, who was supposed to be the last batter, but a caught stealing situation for Chase Bilborough. A fly out by Matt Barthauer to left field. Garrick Rule going to the foul line and catching it just to his right. And that'll be the first out of the inning. So now steps in the second baseman, JT Peliquin. Last time out, a strikeout swinging. Some half-hearted swings from Peliquin of McNeese State, looking to transfer the 1-0 in the dirt. So Carson Jacobs having his work cut out already in this one, as 2-0 count. Foul off from a swing and a drive into left field, as Peliquin got on first after a hit. So now stepping in is the right fielder, Will Brazel, who came in from a right field to pitch. First pitch from Jacobs, fastball down the middle, watched by Brazel. Last time out, flied out to the catcher, Brady Evans, on the third base foul line side. Catches it going towards his back as he overcommitted and then had to come back towards the baseball. And a swing and a miss from Brazel. So the count 0-2 in favor of Carson Jacobs with Peliquin at first. The 0-2. Check swing from Brazel, but not enough, as that pitch was near the dirt for Jacobs. Lights on here at Larks Park, and Brazel needing some time. Like I had mentioned, lights on here as we keep going in this nice Sunday evening ball game. LaRue diving, couldn't get there. Peliquin on his horse, throwing is John Sisoli, and he is out. A great play from John Sicoli to Luis Garcia. And that will be the second out after a hit from Brazel. Mike Bathauer, the shortstop, coming up to the plate. He only had one at bat, and that was the top of the third, and he started it on a fly out to none other than Austin Strassner. Fly out past the netting here. Some kids going to get a foul ball and a dollar here off of that foul ball, courtesy of Barthauer. Pitch on the inside, moving his knees is Mike. Mike and Matt, brothers, both go to Adams State. A swing and a pop-up in the right side of the field. Going after it is LaRue, and that is the end of the top of the fourth on a flyout by Mike Barthauer. We head to the bottom of the fourth here on KAYS and on YouTube. We go back to it. Will Brazel back on the bump for the Cougars, as didn't mark it down, but he faced Brady Evans to start. But coming up for the Larks, the only one that did not hit in the bottom of the third, Garrett Gruhl. Gruhl carrying a hot bat at points. This series has, try and find his name. And LaRue, 4 runs scored, 4 RBIs, 4 flyouts, but 3 home runs in 2 games. What a stat line from Garrett Gruhl. And one of those flyouts was right at the warning track. So leading off is Garrett Gruhl, sophomore out of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And even before his walk-up song was even done, hits a single off of Will Brazel. Larks seeing some success at the plate, and when I mean some, I mean a lot of success. Not even looking at my chart, but pretty much everybody has a hit or has been on the base paths and pretty much scored. The 0-0 from Will Brazel. And pitch up high to John Sassoli, who started the third inning. Hit by a pitch and scored. High fly ball into right field. Coming in is the right fielder, and he drops it, throwing it to second, but after that play, don't even know if that should be an out, because going after the catch was the right fielder, and the ball carried with him, and Gruhl was halfway because the fly ball was in between JT Peliquin and the right fielder, and either way would have been tagged up for the out. Was Gruhl. So John Sassoli will get on because of an error by the right fielder. And Austin Strasner, 0 of 1 tonight. Strikeout looking, base on balls that scored. Already down in the count, 0-2 to Will Brazel. Brazel already waiting for Strasner to get up to the plate. Gets his sign. Checking first in John Sassoli. Pitch missing as it almost touches the turf on the outside of Strasner, who is a left-handed hitter. Wears his Baylor helmet here for the Larks with a black wood bat. 1-2. Check swing, but not enough for the umpire to call a strikeout. So Strasner evens the count 2 apiece with 1 out against Will Brazel. Pitch low and missing from Brazel. So the count full now with John Sassoli on first, and Brady Evans, the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter, coming up and has already 2 doubles. Stealing is Sassoli, and almost being hit is Strasner, but a walk anyway. So Sassoli getting on because of a walk, but trying to steal. And now Brady Evans, back-to-back doubles in the second and third innings. He faced Will Brazel to start off in the third. So Brazel going the length of the lineup so far. Fouls one off. Kids running after it in the Cougars bullpen. Count 0-1 between Brady Evans, the junior out of Northeastern State, and Will Brazel, the transfer into Oklahoma Christian. Transferred out of U of Mary, out of North Dakota in the Northern Sun League that the Tigers of Fort Hays State normally play against after the MIAA if they get to regionals, just because of how Division II is set up in pretty much every sport. The 1-1 from Brazel, swung on and gone by Brady Evans. What a swing. Cue San Francisco another time tonight. Three for three is Brady Evans. And everyone on their feet and clapping as Brady Evans gets the cowboy hat and the horse, celebrating with the team. That was another swing that you knew right off the bat was gone. And it might have touched the road in left field, but you could tell that that was gone off the bat from Brady. So now coming up is Bryson Evans, the second baseman. Evans not batting in the series yet, but tonight he is 1 of 2. A chopper played by Sherry and called out. It's tough to have one umpire, and we've seen that once before up in the North Platte on that Sunday afternoon. No, excuse me, Thursday night. I remember it was the first game of the year, and we only had one umpire. It's tough. But a ground out to the third baseman will be the second out of the inning. Now at the top of the order, Luis Garcia receives a first pitch inside from Will Brazel. Brazel set the 1-0 up high on the slider. Didn't have enough grip or pull down on it, and it went wide. So the count 2-0 for Garcia. Pitch on the inside, almost hitting the leg of Luis. Luis, 1 of 2, a base on balls that scored in the first, a double and scored, and an RBI, and a fly out. Pitch wide of the mark, and Garcia gets another walk tonight. Great eyes by Luis Garcia, puts him on for a third time tonight. And now Damian Ruiz is 0 for 2, but got on a base on balls from Nolan Marthaler and scored in the second because of an RBI home run from Tyler LaRue. First pitch in there from Brazel, fastball down at the knees, but called strike. The 0-1 up high, about chin high for Ruiz, but about going on to second was Luis Garcia, but Jackson Nutter popped up ready to throw down. The 1-1 delivered almost at the shins of Ruiz. So the count 2-1 between Brazel and Ruiz. The 2-1 up high and missing as Brazel loses that fastball. And walking to second is Luis Garcia. the 3-1 into the dirt, and another Lark on the base paths. Don't want to quote PA announcer Ken Winholtz wrong, but the Cougars have given up 42 runs and 2 in, let's just say, a half of a game against the Larks. The Larks only giving up, I think it was 12, so 15 runs in 2 games with a shutout game in between. And Cerullo coming in. Last one is JT Peliquin, and I think Mark Cerullo just was asking if Brazel was all right to keep going. Pretty much, I'd say half, if not 75% of the Cougars lineup is pitchers. But when you use 6 of them in 2 games, it's kind of hard to still have arms in a Sunday evening. Will Brazel shakes his head. Pendergrass up to the plate. The 0-0 from Brazel. Curveball in there and starts him off 0-1. Pendergrass hit by a pitch and scored. Ground out to JT Peliquin. And then a double with an RBI tagged to it. Brazel throws one in the dirt. Blocked by Nutter. Nutter was lucky on that one to catch it, but had enough glove, or else that would have gone through the 6th hole. The 1-1 from Brazel down the line of Sherry at third. Running in will be Garcia. Ruiz from first and an RBI double. Make that 2 from Will Pendergrass. Back-to-back doubles and back-to-back RBIs. Has 3 on the night and 3 on the series. And Tyler LaRue, the only one to hit or not hit in the 4th. And the Larks having a new high of scoring runs in the bottom of an inning tonight, having 5 in the 4th with having room of another out to go. LaRue gets a pitch in the dirt from Brazel, doesn't want Pendergrass to get to third and holds him at home. The 1-0 from Brazel, not pulled down on the slider. So the count 2-0. Brazel checking a second in Pendergrass. Delivers a pitch, but just high. Larks leading the Cougars 15-2. And the Cougars having 1 error. Don't know where that came from, but oh yeah, I know. The fly out to right field that caught up Garrick Rule in the early parts of the 4th, and now Brazel's time is up on the bump. Now the question is, who from the field is going to be the next pitcher? Looks like the center fielder and Brady Webb, but now the field's going to be all over the place, and who's going to be who? Brazel's going to be walking off. So who's going to come in on the field? While we have this time, I'd like to thank these sponsors: Phase 2 Screen Printing, M&D Excavating Incorporated, Discount Siding, Next Tech, the Arc of Central Plains, Gibbs Auto Supply, Glassman Corporation, Nextech, Brungard Hauer, Midwest Energy, Commercial Builders Incorporated, Soil Pro Seeds, and Hayes Post and Eagle Communications. The new pitcher, Brady Webb, on the bump for the Denver Cougars. So the Cougars, having used 9 players on the bump in 3 games, and we haven't even finished the third one just yet. They'll have some pitching staff issues later this week, as you got to believe that they have a game here Tuesday and Wednesday, as the Larks also have a game Tuesday and Wednesday of this week as they travel down to Liberal and then go out to Colorado for a couple games. But the Larks getting a big foe in the Liberal BJs as they lost the league title because of a rainout and a technicality. But in the semifinal game of the NBC World Series, Larks get them back and beat them to be in the championship. Brady Webb set to go for the Cougars. Stepping in is Garrett Gruel, the only Lark to not hit yet in this inning. Or the first one to bat around, Pitch up high from Webb. So the count 2-0. And at this point, it's just survival mode for the Cougars, because Webb has some speed, but there's no real placement on where he's throwing it. The 2-1 up high to Garrett Gruel. Last time up, a single, and then throw out by the right fielder because of an error. Pitch on the outside, walks Gruel. So a base on balls for the second time in this inning. And now John Sicoli. He reached on an error by the, so that's the error. The error by the right fielder. Yeah, that's the same one I've been talking about. The error by the right fielder, and scored in that at bat and stat line. Receives a first pitch strike from Webb. Bases juiced, 2 outs, and a grounder to Mike Barthauer, throwing over to first and in time. And that will be the end of the 4th. We head to the 5th here on KAYS and on YouTube. Carson Jacobs still on the bump for the Larks, and having a big lead as the Larks score 2 in the first, 4 in the second and third, and 5 in the fourth. They lead the Cougars 2-15 as we head to the fifth in this one. Jacobs, first pitch, grounds it to Strassner. He is the batter for the Cougars. Trying to catch who that was, and that was Jackson Nutter, the catcher.
Now batting number 14.
And Gavin Sherry up to bat for the Cougars. Last time and only time he's been at the plate, hit by a pitch and scored. New catcher for the Larks. It's going to be Peyton Ebbing, sharing time with Brady Evans tonight just because of how many games and not enough players on the Larks. Trying to still get everybody in. Mentioned this yesterday, a national champion or two from Angelo State coming in, a couple from DBU, Oklahoma, as well as a key piece, and Dylan Dreiling is still waiting to come in for the Larks. Jacobs, the 3-0, missing, and Sherry will be walked.
Top of the batting order for the Cougars. The pitcher number 3.
And so now Brady Webb, the pitcher, was the center fielder. Last time out, a single in the third and a strikeout swinging to start the game for Jacobs. Sherry going, swing and fouled off. Luis Garcia still getting it in foul territory and probably could have thrown out the runner in Webb. Jacobs checking Sherry. A possible throw over. The 0-1 from Jacobs and a throw over to check on Sherry, but in time. The 0-1 from Jacobs in the dirt. Peyton Ebbing blocking that one. Freshman out of Tennessee. Too far in the depth chart. So we got Peyton to start the season. Well, we won't get Dylan until possibly knowing tomorrow whether they continue to Omaha or we get him possibly next weekend, if not just a little bit later in the season. Jacobs, the 1-2 in the dirt, blocked by Ebbing. The count at 2 apiece with Gavin Sherry, a speedy runner from Colby Community College at first. Going is Sherry, a swing and a drive into right field. Going back is John Sicoli. Sicoli just going to throw it in to Bryson Evans.
Now batting number 19, Chase Bilbrough.
So Chase Bilbrough still in there somewhere. I think he's in right field because of Nolan Marthaler, the starter for the Cougars, going to left field. So Chase Bilbrough, another Colby Trojan, fouls one off. Both of the Trojans having really long hair and getting hit in the shoulder as he turns is Bilbrough. And an ooh and an ah from the crowd, but he's just fine as Peyton Ebbing consoles him. So a hit by a pitch by Carson Jacobs has Bilbro at first and Gavin Sherry at first. So Powell is out and steps in number 27. Give me a second. And that is a Nolan Marthaler. So he re-enters to hit. And foul ball just right of the press box. Kid's going to chase after it for $1 here at Larks Park. Jacobs waiting for the sign, gets it, gets set, checking Sherry. The 0-1 pitch called strike by the home plate umpire, and now down 0-2 is Nolan Marthaler. Jacobs checking the runners, but not even throwing, so he gets back on the bump. Jacobs gets set to deliver. Sherry running in the dirt, and Sherry safe at first. Or third, excuse me. So Sherry over at third. So runners at the corners as Bilbro at first. The 1-2, now Bilbro going. Peyton Ebbing catches that one, but in the transfer, can't get it to the hands. So Jacobs now having two runners in scoring position with Nolan Marthaler. Marthaler last night, 1 of 2, a single and a flyout, but 2 of 6. 2 flyouts, a double, a single, and an RBI, but that's pretty much been his stat line in the last 2 games, as this is his first at-bat tonight, and he moves the count 3-2 with 2 outs. Jacobs getting set, delivers, swung on and fouled off. That goes into the intersection of 4th and Oak. So we do it all over again. The 3-2, 2 outs. Carson Jacobs to deliver. And a swing into left field. Coming in is Gruel. Trying to stretch this is the runner. And he is out in Chase Bilbro. And Garrett Gruel ending the inning on a highlight throw from left field. You're listening to the Larks on KAYS and on YouTube. To the bottom of the 5th we go here at Larks Park, and Austin Strassner set to go against Brady Webb, who came in relief for Will Brazel. Smoke starting to fill. Larks Park has gone pretty stagnant from the 13 miles per hour of wind at first pitch at 7:05. Webb set to deliver. Pitch high, but called strike anyway. Larks wearing their all-white, no-sleeve jerseys with their undershirt of dry fit. They're wearing red with Larks in script across the chest and button down, with the number on the side of the rib and on the back in red. For the Cougars, they're wearing all black tops with outlines of white, says Cougars, and numbers on the rib with white pants. Swung on and fouled off is Strasner. The last two nights for the Cougars, they've had some hard jerseys to read up in the press box. In the first night, and also having the rain delay and having rain falling, they had camo and white and black numbers, and their jerseys were white and black camo. Last night, they were all white with stripes across the lower back and stomach area, and it was gray black, and then also just an outlining of black of the number. The 3-2 into the dirt, and Strasner will walk on a full count. So a walk by Austin Strasner will put him on. Now steps up Brady Evans. The last time, a home run for 2-run RBI, scoring 3. Then double having an RBI as well. But now it's Peyton Ebbing. But with Brady Evans being the beverage batter, it'll be pinned on Peyton Ebbing now. Swing and a high fly ball going right, but the right fielder way over. And that'll be a double for Peyton Ebbing. Possibly going to score is Strasner, but hold up, says head coach Frank Leo. Leo has been aggressive at times and didn't pay off, but this time he wants to have Strasner at third with no outs. And now Bryson Evans to come up to the plate. So Bryson Evans, 1 of 3, fly out a single and a 2-run RBI, and then stole the second, but left at second, and a ground out to Gavin Sherry. Nutter can't find it, but it was right under him. A loud pop back to Brady Webb on the bump. Lots of fans in the stands here at Larks Park. Thank you for joining us here on the radio station because you couldn't make it to the ballpark for whatever reason. Webb checking second, delivers the pitch. High in my opinion, but called a strike. So the count 1-2 to Bryson Evans. Webb delivers low of the knees, and the count 2-2. Swing and a foul off by Bryson Evans. So the count 2-2. Still between Brady Webb and Evans. Pitch inside. Evans moves more than he needed to. I think that would have just scraped him by inches, but a ball nevertheless on the inside to Evans. The 3-2 from Webb. Swung on right to the third baseman and Sherry, and it tips his glove. Stopping is the runner at third in Trent Baker. So scoring on the RBI double is Austin Streisner. Bryson Evans to 2. And Nutter wanted to throw down to second, but thought better because Trent Baker was staring right at him. Or no, excuse me, Peyton Ebbing. This is all messing me up with everybody everywhere at this point. But Peyton Ebbing saying, I dare you to throw it to second. And Nutter does not throw it down. First pitch to Luis Garcia. Low and outside. The 1-0 slider in there, but not called a strike. That was down the middle, and a pitch that was super high, called strike. 2-0, swung on. TJ Peliquin down at home, but no tag from Nutter. Doesn't understand that you need to apply the tag. And telling Peliquin, you need to throw it to the left of me, because Peliquin threw it into the dirt right in front of home, and he couldn't apply the tag. Either way, the Larks capitalize on the Cougars once again. And now this game 17-3. Slider fouled off the big netting here to cover the Hayes Aquatic Park across the street. So Bryson Evans at third, Luis Garcia at first. A swing and a drive foul into the Cougars bullpen. So Ruiz, 0-2 count. 2 flyouts and 2 base on balls tonight, but on those base on balls, he's scored every time. Fastball back up the middle, double play as the shortstop catches, tags second, and then throws over to first at Matt Barthauer. And that'll be 2 outs.
The designated hitter, number 18, Will Pendergast.
So a ground out right to the shortstop will be 1 and 2. Or excuse me, there we go. 1 and 2. All right. Put it right into my score sheet. And a single for Will Pendergrass as Sherry jumped as high as I probably could, or even higher, and tried to grab that single from Pendergrass, but just couldn't get there. And so Tyler LaRue, the first baseman tonight, is 3 of 4, single RBI and left on second, home run RBI, fly out. But now coming up is Cam Walton. And a Walton first pitch near head high. Walton swings one and gets a single. The kid out of New Mexico, and the Lobo comes through, is listed as a pitcher, gets a hit. And who is this? Might as well just take the time to figure out who's who. It's number 15. And Mark Cerullo coming out. And now all of the pitchers are getting a chance to hit for the Larks, as the game is easily in hand for the Larks, as they are up 15 runs 18-3. They have more runs than they do hits. On the other hand, the Cougars having to actually work for their runs, having 4 hits and 3 runs. So coming out is Brady Webb, but who's going to be on the bump is the question. While we take the time, I'd like to take the time and say thank you to these sponsors for getting Hayes Larks Baseball on KAYS, Hayes Post, Eagle Communications, Soil Pro Seeds, Commercial Builders Incorporated, Midwest Energy, Brungard Hauer, Nextech, Glassman Corporation, Gibbs Auto Supply, the Arc of Central Plains, Nextech, Discount Siding, M&D Excavating Incorporate, and Phase 2 Screen Printing. While I'm thinking about it, it is the top of the hour, so let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. A new pitcher on the bump. I haven't been able to check the number. Now I get a full number, and it'll be number 33, Matt Barthauer, who is listed as the first baseman to start the game. He will start to get the Cougars going and try and get through this game. And Will Brazel coming in at first. First pitch. A fastball that couldn't be caught by Nutter because they got crossed up. Just hit him in the stomach. Off speed, called strike, so the count 1-1 for Matt Barthauer and Caleb Meredith. Caleb, Chattanooga State, in between the first baseman and second baseman and into right field, but an RBI hit for Caleb Meredith. Congratulations, Caleb. Can't wait for all the pitchers to start talking about it on the bus rides to anywhere. You remember that time I got a hit off of so-and-so? Yes, I do. So 16 for the Larks, John Sicoli. So now we go back to the actual lineup. So 1-1 turns into 2-1. And like I had mentioned, a couple of the pitchers getting a chance to hit for the Larks, and then back to it we go as John Sicoli comes in to hit. The 2-1 from Barthauer popped up in the infield, and that will be end of the inning by the shortstop. We head to the 6th here on KAYS and on YouTube. Trent Baker on the bump for the Larks. Tried to get him some rest as he's been dealing with some injury, but going to throw tonight for the Larks. I believe it's just his catching hand, and it bothers him when he's hitting. So He will be on the bump to face the Cougars. Just need to go 2 more full innings. I believe we will have a game over. But this is a non-league game, so it could be different from what happened last night because it was a league game. So Trent Baker on the bump for the Larks, and coming up to the plate is number 33, Matt Barthauer. And fouled off right in front of me in the press box. There was no netting. Once again, I would have caught that one, been on that. But count 0-1 in favor of Baker. Another foul ball. The 0-2 already in favor for Baker. Stands straight up towards Peyton Ebbing. Delivers the pitch and a check swing that connects and goes into the Larks bullpen. Baker just throwing strikes so far in his 3-4 pitches. And now it hits the now pitcher, Matt Barthauer, who was the first baseman, but with a lot of pitching down for the Cougars, have to start using some people that don't normally throw. And John Peliquin, the second baseman, the 0-0 from Baker, excuse me. I was already on autopilot and totally forgot that Barthauer was hit by Baker. The 1-0 turns into 1-1 on a fastball on the inside and low. Catches that corner on a Peliquin. A pretty tight strike zone. Kind of Jose Altuve vibes. Strassner to first in time. And don't think that's Tyler LaRue. So I believe that's John Sicoli at first. And Will Brazel steps up for the Cougars now. After the Cougars have a first out on a ground out by TJ Peliquin. Will Brazel, U of Mary, transfer to now Colorado Christian, fouls one off past the barbecue shack here at Larks Park. While we got the time, I might as well say this. I heard this from PA announcer Ken Winholtz. In 3 games, 48 runs in 3 games, and we just went down to Dodge City, and their announcer, who is also their bus driver, had mentioned that the Denver Cougars were going to be the best team out of Colorado, and we have squashed that one. So the 0-1 from Baker, fouled off right behind me in the press box. Both teams having 6 wins, but the Cougars 6-3, the Larks 6-2. The Larks perfect at home, 3-0, and let's just move that to 4-0 at this point with the 19-3 lead for Frank Leo and company. Trent Baker fighting Will Brazel, still having a 0-2 count on multiple foul-offs, and now we get a ball in the dirt from Baker. Baker checking second in Barthauer, right back to him, and he tried to catch it, but knocks it down, and he will toss it over to John Sicoli. Don't know how you want to stat that. I just put ground out, but if anyone can help me, that'd be great. Because it hit his glove, and it was just too fast to actually catch it. And so it just hit to the side of Baker, and he just picks it up and tosses it to first. Baker in the new series is Mike Barthauer, the shortstop originally, but his brother on the bump, so I don't know where he actually is. It's kind of been hard after the second pitcher switch for the Cougars. The 1-1 turns into 2-1 on a pitch on the opposite batter's box of Barthauer. And another fastball on the outside that misses. So the count 3-1 between Trent Baker and Mike Barthauer, who has his brother at third. Up the middle, stopped by the second baseman, and an out. And what an amazing grab by Bryson Evans, sliding to his right, stopping his momentum and throwing over to first. That is the end of the sixth inning. And seventh inning stretch here early because of the run rule. You're listening to Larks Baseball on KAYS and on YouTube. Back to it we go in the bottom of the sixth. I'm Caden Sanders. Alongside me in the KYS studio, Rachel Fox. And Cotton Eye Joe here at Larks Park. And everyone getting into it after seventh inning stretch. A throw down to second, and we are all ready to get going here in the bottom of the sixth. And Austin Strassner set to go against Matt Barthauer. Strassner was about to hit in the fifth for the second time, but a fly out by John Sicoli to the shortstop. And first pitch ball by Matt Barthauer. The 1-0 turns into 2-0. And ever since we got to Will Brazel, there has been no real pitching from the Cougars. It's just been survive and advance at this point, as Brady Webb and Matt Barthauer can't really hit the strike zone. And there's a strike as the count moves to 3-1 on a red light count. Barthauer, the 3-1, walks Strassner. Back-to-back walks for Strassner. Make that back-to-back walks for Strassner. He is 0 of 1 tonight in his official stat line just because of a strikeout looking, but he has scored every time he's got on base on balls, and I don't think that'll change here. So Peyton Ebbing stepping up for the Larks now. Swing and a miss. Freshman catcher out of Tennessee. came in halfway through the game because of injury and the amount of players on the Larks and having 11 games already in the season. When we went up to Nebraska, only had 15 total the entire trip. And so Larks have been battling the 0-2 and an out on a swing and a miss. That'll be the first out of the 6th inning. Now stepping in is Bryson Evans, the freshman from Baylor. Evans receiving the first pitch on the outside, called strike. Austin Strasner still at first, not really getting a huge lead and not really wanting to steal. A swing and a miss. So the count 0-2 to Bryson Evans. Pitch into the dirt, and almost wanting to go is Austin Strasner, but thought better. So the count 1-2 between Matt Barthauer and Bryson Evans. The pitch on the outside, swing and a miss. So 2 back-to-back strikeouts for Peyton Ebbing and Bryson Evans. And now Luis Garcia. I think the middle of the 7th will be it here at Larks Park, as the Larks lead 19-3. 2 huge victories the past 2 nights. Not that Friday wasn't, but having run rule nights in back-to-back games for the Larks as they get set to take on the Liberal BJs Tuesday and Wednesday. No KAYS coverage, but will be streamed on YouTube. A fly out by Luis Garcia to the center fielder, and that will be the end of the 6th inning. We head to the 7th here on KAYS and YouTube. To finish the game, it'll be Trent Baker and Peyton Ebbing, the pitcher and catcher for the Larks.
Now batting number 18, Jackson Nutter.
And Jackson Nutter to come in for the Cougars. The 0-0 from Baker. Swung and missed by Nutter. The Larks pick up a victory here if they can keep it going, as Baker gets a strike. So the count 0-2. If they do so, 7-2 is the record for the Larks going into next week, into week 3, and going down to Liberal for 2 games. Pitch missing from Baker, so the count 1-2. And a strikeout for Trent Baker. And that's to start the inning. The Larks needing only 2 outs, and Gavin Sherry, the third baseman, has been on twice because of hit by pitch, base on balls, and scored the first time, almost did the second time, but left on third after a flyout. And a flyout to Bryson Evans. So now stepping in is Brady Webb. Webb started at center field, pitcher, and then I think back to center field. That's a good, I think, but don't really know for sure because of black and white and being out in the outfield from the press box. First and second pitches strikes, but the second one swung and missed by Brady Webb, and only needing one more strike, and we will end the series as the Larks looking to pick up another victory. Trent Baker swing and fouled off is Webb from Colorado Mesa. Strikeout swinging, a single that scored, and a flyout. Webb 1 of 7, excluding tonight, so make that 2 of 11. The 0-2, swing and a miss, and that will be it as the Larks pick up another victory at home, make that 4-0 on the year. The Larks move to 7-2 on the season, only losing to Gearing, Nebraska, and also the Dodge City A's earlier this week. The Denver Cougars move to 6-4 with one of those losses to the Athletics of Dodge City, but the Larks taking the other 3 in the series and bring the brooms out here this Sunday evening. Once again, your final score, 19-3 here. We will keep the post game going here next on KAYS.
Group 4440 Vine Street in Hayes. Caden, it's yours.
All right, Carson Jacobs, where you at? Carson, you've played on this field a lot as a kid. Talk to me about what the difference is now being a college student and playing for the Larks.
Well, I think the crowd's a little bit bigger for the Hayes Larks than it was back then, but, you know, I'm just grateful to play here, and it's fun to play at home, so that's all that it is.
What were you expecting on your first night back at Larks Park and having the success that you did tonight?
I knew it was going to be loud, even though it was a Sunday, but I appreciate everybody coming out to support us, and it was just an amazing feeling on the mound.
And then I'd like to get Brady Evans. Where are you at?
Brady, you return again, and you're the beverage batter, and you provided multiple times tonight. Talk to me about what you saw on the plate.
Well, I was just trying to get it done for the people tonight, trying to get everybody, I guess, to get their drinks in for, I guess, $4. You know, just trying to do what I could.
What has your experience been with the Larks? Of course, you came back, but talk to me about your time being a Lark and seeing all the fans here.
It's definitely way different than college. You know, at college you don't get this many fans at all, and the crowd is always amazing here.
Thank you, Larks, for another W. See you in Liberal on Tuesday.
There you have it with tonight's post-game interview with Cadence.
Welcome back to Larks Park. The Larks picking up a 19-3 victory as we get ready for one of the Hayes Larks coaches to come up here. Lots of Larks scoring. Everyone except for Bryson Evans and Garrett Gruhl to score tonight. For the Cougars, it was hard of scoring. The only two that scored was Brady Webb and Gavin Sherry. As we wait for a coach, we'd like to thank for these sponsors supporting the Larks, getting on KAYS, Phase 2, Screen Printing, M&D Excavating Incorporate, Discount Siding, Next Tech, the Arc of the Central Plains, Gibbs Auto Supply, Glassman Corporation, Next Tech, Brungart Hauer, Midwest Energy, Commercial Builders Incorporated, Soil Pro Seeds, and Hayes Post and Eagle Communications. Lots of kids here running the bases as we have the assistant coach, Andy Luton, in the box. Try and set it up here as he is talking to the PA announcer here at Larks Park. And Coach Luton, welcome to the post game. Talk to me about the team and how well they saw the ball today.
Well, we've been doing a really good job of that, not just today, but this past week. We've been, getting up to the plate and really hunting out fastballs, and we've been doing a really good job. It's just really, that's been our game plan, getting up there and trying to just attack fastballs as much as we can, and, as you saw tonight, that it worked out, so.
And speaking of being, dominant, you beat a team in 3 games, 48 runs. Was that kind of the plan going into this and trying to use it as a offensive overload, if you will?
Yeah, we know, with the guys that we brought in this summer that we have a lot of juice. We have a lot of guys that can swing the bat very well. And, we didn't expect anything different coming into this series. They just showed it right there with the 48 runs that we put up that, they know what they're doing when they get up there, and they really have been seeing it well. So, that's our game plan all the time, is just hunt down fastballs and try to produce as many runs as we can. So.
Now, what is the next step? Because you guys take on Liberal, who, took you guys to the end of the RMBL and then in the semifinal of last year. Talk to me about what needs to happen between now and even Tuesday when you guys unload from Liberal.
Well, the biggest thing is this, especially with the starting pitching, going out and getting strikes, getting ahead in counts, and giving our hitters a chance to do what they do best, and that's hit the long ball and be able to produce runs. So as long as we, throw strikes and fill it up, that's going to be our game plan, because Liberal does, they always have some really quality players. So if we don't bring our A game, they can get the best of you. But if we go out and throw strikes like we're supposed to and, put on the display like we've been doing, I think we'll come home with a couple wins.
All right, thanks, Coach, for the W, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
All right, I appreciate you.
Assistant Coach Andy Luton in the postgame send it back to break. And final thoughts here from Larks Park.